What is going on, Dominators? Rico Garcia here, bringing you yet another fire episode. Now, let me tell you, this one, you're going to want to listen from beginning to end because it is such a juicy episode on so many fronts. I venture to say, there's a little drama in this episode. We are going to be joined once again with Rocky from One Tom Plumber, and there was this post that was going around online where someone in our industry made a generalized comment about if you suck at marketing and you don't have a good restoration company, you should not look to buy a franchise, a plumbing franchise. Now, as you know or may not know, and there are going to be video descriptions and links below to previous episodes where Rocky and his son, One Tom Plumber, they've come on and they've spoken about their business model and just how impressive it really is. And I've looked at this business model 7 ways from Sunday. I've really gotten into the weeds, and also I've had guests on the show that are actually franchisees that are living this thing, and there's nothing to shake a stick at. Everything checks out. And so one of the franchisees is actually also going to be on this particular episode with us to share her experience. And the main reason why this is such a great interview is because, number one, there's a little bit of drama to it. So I always love that, right? Because I guess I'm Cuban. We like a little bit of what we call chisme. For those of you that don't know what that means, it's like gossip. But anyways, what I really wanted to highlight is the perception that some people in the industry might have versus what the reality is, and how a bolt-on solution to your business in a lot of cases is the key. And I think that what really ties this episode together is the testimonial that we're going to get from a real life franchisee, which, by the way, just so that you understand how this even came to be, as far as how the testimonial person that we're going to bring on, the franchisee that we're going to bring on, that was actually not scheduled. That was spur of the moment, on the spot, right before we hit the record button. We didn't even know that this was going to be the gist of the conversation. It was brought to my attention. We started having a conversation about it, and we're like, let's make an episode about this, because I think it highlights some of the differences in how people approach, and how sometimes in this industry, there's people that want to sell you something, but they want to knock something else that's really working. They want to, kill its credibility so that maybe perhaps they can sell you their product, right? Or whatever their agenda is. Not to say that there was an agenda or not, who knows, but the way that it came off, it just really seemed like a bad commentary. And when someone commented back, she started to be attacked by other people in the industry because she made this claim about how much money she was making in since she bought this franchise, and how much money that's allocated towards or contributed towards her mitigation company. And people said, hey, show me proof, like, hey, you're lying, this and that. And Rocky is going to put his money where his mouth is. And this is where I think the whole conversation gets really, really exciting. So, and you can tell that this is a really exciting episode for me because look at how long this intro is. Usually my intros are like, hey, this is who we have on the show. Make sure that you stick around. Trust me when I tell you, you're going to want to stick around for this one. And if you haven't checked out One Tom Plumber or their previous episodes, I would strongly recommend for you to do so. There's going to be a link in the video description as well as in the show notes below. Check out their previous episodes that they've been a guest on the Restoration Domination podcast. And, see for yourself, vet the information, look at the information, see if it's a good fit for you and your organization. We're not sponsored in any way. But again, it's just one of these no-brainer type deals that just makes sense to me. And I think that if it makes sense to me, it could make sense to a lot of other individuals within our arena. But again, without further ado, let's jump into the podcast. Let's go.
Welcome to the Restoration Domination Podcast, where you learn actionable advice that moves the needle and helps service-based businesses dominate. Here's your host, Rico Garcia Jr.
All right, Dominators, I hope. Look, I'm excited about this one. I am so excited about this one because we're going to be talking about all the things that I love, and that is making money as well as we're going to shut some people down in the process, or some ideas down in the process. So I'm really, really excited about this particular episode. Once again, for the third time, we are with the one and only Rocky. Rocky, man, thank you so much, brother, for jumping on the show yet again.
Hell to the Rico. Let's get it going.
Let's go, man. Let's go. So, by the way, for those that may not be familiar with the name, that aren't familiar with who you are, you have been on the show twice now. We keep bringing you on because we really love. Yeah, likewise. Not only do we love you as an individual, but just also what you've been doing for the industry, and the bolt-on solution is, at least in my mind, that's what it is. The bolt-on solution that you've created for water mitigation and restoration pros. If you are new to the Restoration Domination family, first and foremost, welcome. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But also, you're going to find a link in the video description, as well as in the show notes below, to Rocky's 2 previous interviews where he also has his son come on as well. And it's great stuff. You don't want to miss it. It's really huge. But we're going to cut through some of the pleasantries that we would normally have in any other podcast, because, again, you're almost like family now for the Restoration Domination podcast. So first and foremost, happy birthday, I believe, is in order, correct? You turned a total of 2.
Two birthdays. Yeah. Second anniversary for one Tom Plumber, the plumber whose name is his number.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Good. So talk to us real quick about since last time that we've had you on. I mean, man, your company has just been exploding. I mean, we've gotten lots of calls on the podcast from people who's like, man, you're like, one Tom, this is amazing, blah 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 blah. But talk to us about that explosive growth that you've seen so far.
Well, I can't do it without thanking you, because a lot of our guys that have come on and become part of the brotherhood across the country have literally heard us for the first time on this podcast. So that's 2 things. One, that means it's people want to listen. Doing a great job. Keep it up, my brother.
Thank you.
2, you have been a very, very good, what's what I'm looking for, ambassador of our brand. Okay. Because I will tell you, this man checked us out. He looked at us, he looked us sideways, and realized that we make good fit with each other and the restoration industry, and became a very, very good brand ambassador. So thank you for that. Okay. Secondly, we just celebrated our second birthday. We've got 38 signed franchises everywhere from Phoenix to Salt Lake City, Chicago, Long Island, New York, Oklahoma, South Carolina. We've got 3 in Florida where Coral is at. We've got literally 4 in Ohio, Alabama, Tennessee. I could keep going on and on. So we've got 5 that scheduled to sign between now and next Tuesday. And then we've got 8 that we're in negotiations with. We will be at 50 franchises literally by the end of July, if you can believe that shit.
That is amazing. Like, that is amazing growth. And you're going to be signing a total of 5 here in Miami, right? Basically in my own backyard.
A week from Tuesday. Yep. Can you believe that? We like to go to the signing. We like to, cake, balloons, champagne, meet the people that made it all work from their side,
right?
All the people behind the scenes. So we always go. But what happened is we're literally signing so many so fast that we just had to bring everybody together at one spot. So we've got 5 brand new franchises convening in Miami. Sorry about this. We're bringing it to Rico's turf.
Yes.
And we're doing one signing in one day because it was just too much to go around.
That's going to be epic. I believe that deserves a round of applause. Yes, everybody, for one Tom Plumber, just killing the game. So, yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. So, obviously, people are flocking to the opportunity. It's making sense to your average business owner, right? Your average business owner, your astute business owner is really jumping all over because they're like, man, I have a mitigation company. We're bringing in money. This is good. So off on the side of the video, she hasn't come on yet, but we've got a little reserve. We got like a little silver bullet in the background here. Well, yes. And we're going to bring her on because there was this post that I saw that was brought to my attention, and I thought that it was really funny. And but even though it's comical, I think that it deserves being broken down and dissected and unpacked because
let's do it, man. Because
yeah,
like it's just it's bullshit.
Yeah. So then this is great content because I think that so many people, number one, if they take a lot of posts that they just randomly see as gospel, and they're like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. But we really have to unpack it. So first and foremost is that everybody knows out there, all the dominators they're out, know exactly what it is that we're talking about. There is this Facebook post that went out. And Rocky, would you mind like reading that or just giving us a gist of what it was about?
Okay, here we go. All right. It's a Facebook post from a marketing guy who I don't know who he is, never heard of him, and I felt like I was pretty tied into the industry. We're about to make him probably a little bit more famous. But it says, if you own a restoration company and you struggle to get water damage, buying a plumbing company is not the answer. Your inability to get water damage is a marketing problem in all caps. Buying a plumbing franchise doesn't fix your problem. You will still suck at marketing. Odds are you will suck at marketing, and now you own two companies instead of one. And I will tell you, I didn't get upset about it. I actually laughed. But my franchisees, man, they were on fire. Okay, and they're like, this guy basically wanted to go after him with pitchforks and torches. Do you know what I'm saying? Because what he's saying is absolutely untrue, and we've got like proof after proof. So I do want to read you what Brian Mara, who's our new Pittsburgh franchise, who's the one that brought it to my attention, posted. He's like, I couldn't help myself. So, but he posted, I've been open for 3.5 months. Our first plumbers referred our mitigation company over $50K in mid jobs so far. And that was within the first 45 days of launching our plumbing company. We now have our 4th and 5th plumber is starting July 1st. What we did was create our own lead generation source. Marketing plumbing services is the easiest thing I've done. Mid jobs just fall in our lap. My biggest problem now is finding and upfitting trucks to support my rapid growth of both companies. Boom.
Boom. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Way to go, Brian. All right. So, but I will tell you, I was sitting back, I was kind of starting to get pissed, and I was thinking to myself, man, should I engage with this guy? So I called Brian, and he's like, no, fucking lower yourself. Pardon my language. Don't lower yourself to this guy's, standards. He's a tool, blah, blah, blah. And I have a very strict, code to not badmouth anybody. So I was like, yeah, I don't know if I could do it without talking to this guy, so on and so forth. So I was,
and here we are on the Restoration Domination podcast.
Hey, okay, I'm coming out of my shell here, but
so, and again, in the sake of it's all fun and games, right? And we're not bashing him directly, whatever.
I am absolutely. Yeah.
But, it's the idea and the concept, and what's even worse, here's why it's really bad to me.
Mm-hmm.
You're known as a marketer. You have a product to sell, and first of all, your solution is pick up the phone. You don't have a successful business, so pick up the phone, basically lie through your teeth, pretend that you're somebody else, and then vet a bunch of plumbers and ask them to then please do business with you because somehow you're going to reciprocate. This is essentially the end of that particular product, right? So when you take a viable business model that has been proven, that people are making money hand over fist. Like, it is what it is. The numbers are real. I've seen them. I've spoken to some of your franchises have been my guests on the show. They've spoken to me, not only on camera, right? What's important is what they say off camera. And they're like, man, this is like the best thing that I've done. So I know what's what, right? So, but when someone is starting to bash something real, that's a bolt-on solution to the business that kind of conflicts with your little product that you're trying to sell, that's where I have a fundamental problem with it,
Yep. And here's the thing. My grandma always used to say, the scared dog barks the loudest. So here comes the scared dog. You know what I'm saying? So I will tell you, though, I lamented over this like all night. And then I woke up in the morning and I saw that Coral, our Brevard County franchise, who now a year open, has now bought 2 more of our franchises, which to me, that's our hammer close right there. But more than anything, she is absolute proof that dynamite comes in small packages. But so she had answered. So I was like, you know what? I don't have to do nothing, man. This dude just kicked the line. You know what I'm saying? He absolutely turned my lion loose, and there's no looking back now. I actually feel bad for him now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but
well, cool. I mean, so let's get into the response, because you read off a response. Now it's easy to go ahead and read something, and for somebody to go ahead and we're like, okay, well, this is like a faceless comment. I don't know if this is real or not. Well, we kind of up the ante, because again, and I like to verify everything, and I think that this is just like a prime example of how to do so. So, Coral, first and foremost, thank you for taking your time and jumping on the show. How are you? Oh wait, are you muted? Don't mute. I can't hear you. What's going on? Let's see. Are you live now? Let's do that again.
I believe I'm live. Can you hear me?
Okay. Oh. It's Carol. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Good. All right, cool. So tell us first of all, give us your response. So when you saw this, what was like the first thought before you even like put thumbs to your iPhone, right? And like started responding back. Like what was your first thought on this?
Before you do that, Coral, tell him she's a woman-owned business in Florida who is scrapping and fighting for everything she's had in life. Yeah. Go ahead, Coral.
Yeah, we're a woman-owned business down in Florida. We're truly female-run, where I think you see a lot of times in the construction industry where you have wives that are, bookkeepers or accountants or different things like that. We really, the girls are in the field. We also are in the office. I think we transitioned to getting smarter and not getting as dirty all the time, but we really run the business. My business partner and I actually like to joke around that our husbands work for us versus us working for our husbands. So we're, a little bit different and unique in that respect. Candidly, when
you were fired up. Coming back, you got fired up.
Yeah. Candidly, when I saw the comment, I was like, oh no, this guy does not know who he's because you can talk about me all day, but don't you talk about my people. I've got broad shoulders. I can handle it, but I just, Rocky and Cameron and the entire One Time organization has been nothing but wonderful to myself, my entire family, and really offered us an opportunity in this industry to do something so different and provide a consistent, profitable business for our family, which I will just forever be grateful for. So I was pissed. I have my business partner, Kevin, is kind of the calmer person on this side of things. And so typically I have to ask permission before I start going into stuff like that. I didn't ask permission. I asked for forgiveness.
Fair enough. I love it.
You want to read your post?
Yes, absolutely. So the post that I wrote back in response is, and I kind of tried to formulate it the same way that he had posted his original post. I said, hi, my name is Coral Martin, and I own One Tom Flower Space Coast. As a fellow business owner and colleague, this comment is not only distasteful, it's wrong. Owning a plumbing company has opened doors that were never possible with restoration. Bashing someone else's business model that has been proven profitable for many, in all capital letters, is not the answer. Your inability to obtain clientele by showcasing your talent is the problem. Buying attention by putting down others is the problem. Odds are you suck at marketing and now should apologize to a group of people you insulted for no reason other than to feed your own ego. I did $4 million in the last year in revenue as a first-year business owner. How many of your clients can say the same?
Oh. Fighting words. I love it. I love every moment. But now that comment comes from a place of strength, right? Because obviously, if there was any truth to your initial revenue line when it was just mitigation, and then you took on this secondary venture, and then all of a sudden it's not adding to your bottom line, well, then you kind of like, oh, well, you know what? Maybe the guy's right. But what was that difference? What was the difference? Like, I mean, you guys are doing well on MIT, and then all of a sudden you bring on this bolt-on. What did that do for your business?
Well, I mean, I think I could even talk even more shockingly is I did 0 in MIT. So I was a brand new business. I'm a first-year business owner. I was an employee before all of this. So not only did it give me more opportunity in mitigation, it really gave me a way where I'm in a community in a restoration industry that I've been a part of for 10 years, right? Mm-hmm. But there's all these guys that have also been a part of it for 10 years. Well, I came into my community. I wasn't just a restoration company. I was a plumber who also offered restoration services, and I was pink on top of it. That was a differentiator that made it so that we could go out and get clients that we never thought were possible, ever.
Give them the breakdown of how much was plumbing and how much restoration you're bringing in because of it. And keep in mind, guys, and this is true, she started last July. Let me back up just a quick second because you need to understand a little bit. We won't get too much of the story, but Coral was an executive with her partner for a $50 million restoration company in Florida. I don't know if I should say the name or not say the name, but we did a dog and pony show with the ownership and the executives. And Coral brought us in there because she saw us at the Chuck DeWalt Pool Drawing and said, this is a great opportunity for a business. Well, after that dog and pony, the executives they were very kind to me, but they laughed and said, this is stupid. Why'd you bring this? So on and so forth. So Coral and I went off to she actually approached me off to the side and said, I want to be part of this. I'm going to quit my job. Basically, I'm going to start my company. When you guys do your podcast, she can go in a lot more detail with that. And I said, hell yeah, high five, let's get it done. So she started in business last July 2022. Keep this in mind when she's telling these numbers. From day one, she had no business July of 2021 of any kind. Go right.
Yep. So in the we will hit 365 days on July 1st. So we're technically not even at 365 days yet. And in that time, we have done just over $1 million in plumbing, actually 1.175 in plumbing. So we're almost at 1.2. And then we have done 3 million in restoration as well.
Yeah. Like if that doesn't tell you, again, Dominators, listen, I mean, I try to bring guests on that things that like when I first got into the business, like, man, I wish I would have known, this is such a unique opportunity. And these are the kind of stories that, again, if you're a restoration contractor out there and you've kind of been, maybe you're moderately successful or you just been, bashing your head against the wall. You're like, how can I become more successful? How can I add some revenue? I mean, if this doesn't just kind of like really, put the picture together for you, I just really don't know what will. I mean, you haven't hit a full calendar year and both of your companies, by any stretch of the imagination, are wildly successful.
Yep. Yeah, we woke up about 6 months into it and realized that we were millionaires. Yeah. It was like the most awkward moment of our lives, and I've got a great example of kind of overview what One Tom really does is I think a lot of people in the industry, everyone's heard of Hilton. A lot of people are aware of like Aimbridge vendor numbers, which is specifically for Hilton properties that are corporately owned. And real quick story is there's a boutique hotel. I live in a very small community too. Let's keep this in mind as well. Brevard County is not a metropolitan area. No. So what I've gotten done over here, we have a 600,000 population over here. It's small. So anyways, we will go to a more boutique hotel in downtown Melbourne, and we were there for a water heater and a gas line. I had gone in there, dropped off a pink plunger, told them that we were female owned, and the chief engineer there just thought that was great. He liked it, Mm-hmm. And so he called me. We have this meeting. We go out there for plumbing services. So we're out there talking and we get the estimates done. We're going through everything. We say, hey, by the way, just to let you know, we offer restoration services as well. So would love to, be able to offer you those services. And he was just like, oh my gosh, that's the greatest thing ever. So as we're walking out the door, he looks at me and he goes, hey, Coral, I'm going to send you an email this afternoon. I'm going to set you up. You'll get your Aimbridge vendor number today. I looked at Kevin and I said, I've worked 10 years to get an Aimbridge vendor number and no one would ever give me the time of day because I was just another restoration company. There's 25 of them behind me that were walking in. So that moment was like, oh my gosh, the power behind having this service available for these people.
Right. Now, so I understand, I'm sorry, Rocky, but just to kind of get back to this whole, the main storyline here of like really, addressing the perception of things. You made that comment. So there's this Facebook post out there that says, hey, you're making this mistake, blah, 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 blah. Adding a successful bolt-on to your business basically is not the answer. Try to find a different solution. You make a response and then you get some backlash. Like people start, saying, hey, this isn't real. Hey, you're not really that successful, right? And which, first of all, I think it's a little funny. I do think, and this is just a total side note, I may even cut this out of the episode because I don't know how correct this is. I think Jay-Z says it best when he says, what you eat doesn't make me shit. And what that means is it's like people are way too focused. Thank you. People are way too focused on what other people are doing instead of trying to find their own path, right? So that's a little side note. But now here you are, you make this comment, you're less than 365 days in, you've got not one, but 2 successful businesses, and you're getting backlash. What's, Rocky, talk to us about that. And, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, like she said, got broad shoulders. She took care of it. I saw it. And then I started reading other people's comments and how they were just venomous and coming after her. And I don't know if it was jealousy and anybody that this, you throw a rock into a crowd of dogs. The one that yelps is the one that, the rock hits. So when she says, I'm successful, and somebody starts saying, no, you're not, apparently that rock hit that dog. You know what I mean? It pissed me off because we're very protective of each other. We look out for each other. It's truly a family and a network across the country. And I was so mad that they were coming after for just saying, defending herself and the brand and everything else and being venomous about it. I said, Rico, I'm going to put this out to your listeners. Okay. And here's what I'm going to do to back up Coral. If you qualify for one of our franchises and she is telling you a fib in any way, I give that franchise for free. But here's the thing. If she's telling you the truth and you qualify for a franchise, you pay double. That's how.
Yeah. So just in case someone was driving their truck and they're just about to get out for an estimate, just close the door for a second. I want you to hear this again because I think that, again, proof's in the pudding. Like when, scared money doesn't make money, right? Like we've all heard that. And it's easy to go ahead and throw stones, but when someone's willing to put their money where their mouth is, to me, that's got some credibility. Like I would then, at that point, it's just a challenge. Let's see who's real in the industry or not, right? Repeat that one more time, just so that the listeners really get it.
Coral, repeat your numbers real quick. Plumbing and restoration.
I did $1,175,000 in plumbing, and I have done over $3 million in restoration.
Okay. If anybody doubts her, you guys that maybe came after her a little bit on Facebook or anyone else that maybe doubts her in any way, I will absolutely put in writing that if you qualify for a franchise, I will give it to you 100% for free if she is lying. 2, but if you take me up on that challenge and I prove to you that what she's saying is true, you pay double for your franchise.
There you go, boys and girls.
And for everybody else that didn't, make those comments, we are creating a brotherhood here. We are creating a network across the country. And give us a call because we don't like operating this way. But when someone calls us out, we look out for, we take care of each other. We got each other's back. But everybody else would love to talk to you. I'll prove to you what she's saying is true. It is absolutely helping people across. Get on that Facebook post, Shane, whatever his name is. I can't even pronounce his last name. Feel free to call me. I'm throwing a challenge out to you. I'll do a podcast with you on this podcast, and I will bring nothing but facts to the table. I would absolutely accept your challenge, or you accept mine. Bring it, brother.
I love it, and you've got the number. And Carol, thank you so much for jumping on and kind of sharing your side of the story. We will have you on, hopefully, on a full-fledged podcast, so that our listeners can learn a little bit more about you and your journey and everything else, and all the good the good things that are on the horizon. So, but meanwhile, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day just to kind of chime in here. And Rocky, just to kind of backtrack here a little bit, this isn't new, right? Again, we're kind of attacking you from this angle because I thought it was a comical post, and and just the misconceptions that are out there. But the proof's in the pudding. Again, your company's grown exponentially. Not only has it grown exponentially, but the franchisees are extremely happy. We're hearing the success stories nonstop. And then you've mentioned this on our previous episodes, but for those that may have missed that segment, or that I've totally forgot about the numbers, talk to us about, what a typical, right, a bare bones, bottom of the barrel franchisee, like what they normally are, what they can expect as far as revenue, when to break even, all of that kind of stuff on a franchise.
Well, our franchisees right now on the plumbing piece of it are averaging 10 months to get in the black. They're, like Coral said, they're crossing the year mark at about $1 million, $1.5 million, depending on the size of the market and how much money you put into it. And honestly, we've got our oldest franchise, which is just turned 2.5, or they're coming up on 2.5 because he started when we started, and he's on his third franchise. One of the people that are signing on the 23rd, he's buying his third franchise, which will be Columbia, South Carolina. But they've got Greenville, South Carolina open. They've opened Charleston, South Carolina, and now he's opened his third franchise. Tell me if we were telling you something that was wrong, why someone would open and buy their third franchise. And
it just makes
it in 2 years. So.
Exactly. It makes no sense, right? People are not going to be throwing in good money in after bad unless it makes perfect sense, unless it's becoming profitable, unless it's helping their core business, or, that it's a standalone entity, which is really what it is. I mean, the bolt-on aspect for a mitigation company, I mean, that's just like a match made in heaven, right? But it is its own independent, profitable business.
Yeah. And here's the concept. It's pretty freaking simple. And I own 3 1-800 pack-out franchises, so I saw the bolt-on to my restoration. Saw how well it worked. I just wanted one on the front end that helped me generate commercial water damage, and residential water damage.
You wanted a lead magnet, right? And this is where marketing, I think, and this is where like your marketing mind and your business acumen comes in. Well, we all know that, it's Grant Cardone says this very well, right? He's like, who's got my money, right? Who's got my money? Well, we know as mitigation contractors, right? If what you specialize in is waterman and that's all you're chasing, we know that a good bulk of the calls are going to plumbers.
Yep.
Why not just, get in front of that market? Like, the people are out there saying, I need help, I need help, I need help. A good percentage of those people are actually going to need water mitigation pros. Why not get in front of that market? And that's something that you captured very, very well.
Well, keep in mind too, when we started this journey, when we did the proof of concept, which means we had to do it in-house, in 2019, I did $750,000 in water damage that year. Okay. I'm over 3 million already this year in water damage. And guess what? 80% of that's commercial, which means no adjusters, no insurance companies. We send a bill and it gets paid.
How nice is that?
Unbelievable, right? Seriously, it's just changed everything. It's changed the game. So, I mean, we killed all of our TPAs. We stopped doing all the large loss rebuild. We stopped doing, and I'm not telling anybody to do that. I think it's a good add-on.
Well, actually, I want to go ahead and stop you right there if we can, because what I want to talk about those numbers, and I want to talk about possibilities. Let's just talk about possibilities of what different type of restoration companies, depending on where, if they're TPA heavy, if they're never done TPA work. And I just want to go through a couple of scenarios. So that way, because again, we have listeners that are, coast to coast, and they have, brand new organizations that they just started, right? I mean, they're still got their equipment in their garage. We've got franchise owners. We've got like a huge spectrum of individuals, and everybody's headspace is a little bit different. So I want to run through a few scenarios on how this, bolt-on, if you will, how it can enhance any one of these particular contractors and the different directions in which they can take their business. But before we do that, let's just take a quick second to thank our sponsors. Hey, Dominators, did you know that about 80% of businesses are actually unsellable? This is why you need to let Restoration Brokers of America work with you to ensure that you maximize the value of your business when you decide that it's time for a change. All you have to do is visit sellmyrestorationbusiness.com for more information. You've worked hard to build it. Now let RBA work hard to sell it. Dominators, let's face it, your company will make it or break it on the backs of your estimating team. But if we're honest here for a second, what tools have you actually given them to succeed? The Actionable Profile is the newest tool inside of your estimator's toolbox, or at the very least, it should be. The Actionable Xactimate Profile is a data-driven solution that provides real-time estimating guidance on the fly. It checks for both overages, omissions in your estimates in real time, leading your team to having much more accurate scopes each and every single time that they're writing an estimate. Avoid any kind of potential conflicts with the adjuster and ensure that your estimates include every single warranted line item with the actionable Xactimate profile. Get your free demo today. If you head on over to value.getinsights.org/dominate, we've got an amazing offer for you. Again, head on over to value.getinsights.org/dominate and get your free demo today. Hey, Dominators, quick question. Are you looking to attract top industry talent? Well, I'm here to tell you that Weilander is the go-to recruiting company in order to attract the best talent available inside of the restoration arena, period. Now, why do I say that? Well, simple. With over 1,000 placements, and more importantly, with experience in all 50 states, as well as in good old Canada, Weilander is going to be able to find the right fit for you and your company. Weilander not only has the expertise, but more importantly, they already have the connections to make sure that they find that perfect fit for you and your organization. So listen, we all know that time is money. So stop wasting time just sifting through resume after resume and let Weilander do the heavy lifting for you. Get back to what it is that you're good at. Get back to money-making activities. Call Weilander today. Let them help you find that next superstar in your organization. Hey, Dominator, did you know that it takes about 45 days for most contractors to get paid on emergency service jobs? And some contractors report much longer wait times than that. Either way, it's a long time, especially when you start adding in all of the stress that you have to do to keep up with payroll, overhead costs, and everything that goes along with just running a business. Well, One Claim Solutions is an insurance billing specialist that not only gets their clients paid in 32 days on average, but it also improves their profitability. And above and beyond that, it also handles all of the communications with the adjusters. One Claim Solutions was actually founded back in 2016. And since then, they've been able to process hundreds of millions of dollars in insurance invoices on behalf of their clients. Listen, you deserve to work with a specialist that has well-trained attorneys as well as staff. And also they have proprietary purpose-built technology with some really rigorous time-proven processes that's needed to deliver a best-in-class insurance billing experience. One Claim Solutions will handle it all so that you can focus on really what matters most, which is running your business. Head on over to oneclaimsolution.com/dominate. Again, that's oneclaimsolution.com/dominate. Book your free consultation today. All right, and we are back. So we left off. We want to talk about a couple of scenarios, right? You said that you when you were testing this in house, what, $750,000, right, is what you did on WaterMet. Okay,
That's
cool.
where I started at. Yep.
That's what you started at. What do you say to the person who's heavy TPA, and what do you say to the person who's never done any program work, right, whatsoever? How does this affect their business, and what different trajectories can they take once they have this kind of freedom?
That's a great question. And keep in mind the bolt-on model, just to bring everybody in on it, because it was created by McDonald's and Love's Truck Stops. And what that means is it's two separate businesses within the same business, where you pull in to get gas, you get the Big Mac. You pull in to get the Big Mac, you get the gas. That's why plumbing and restoration go so well together. Okay, so that's the bolt-on business model. Secondly, we're helping people get way less insurance dependent. We want people to move into the commercial space, and it's a huge play. And all of our growth, honestly, we're 80% commercial now, and that's the way we're taking other people. So if you're not doing a lot of commercial work, this is the way to get in the door. And it's a simple concept. They need plumbing all the time. How hard is it to get plumbing? You use the plumbing to get in a door, you get the water damage, and I don't even know how much more simple I could make that. The other thing is, too, it makes it easy to get in the door because they need you. You're selling plumbing. They need you 2 or 3 times a week with plumbing. You get to build the relationship. They have a water call. You get the water call because they need you because of the emergency plumbing piece. It's that simple. If anybody wants to start a plumbing company, more power to you. I would believe in it, And I always say this, when you come here, truly, if we don't send you back and you can start your own plumbing company to help your restoration company, we didn't give you enough information. We want people in the restoration industry to be successful. Whether or not they use one-top plumber or not, we don't care. And Coral will tell you, we throw everything out on the table. And just to preface that, we've got 3 of our franchisees that actually had existing plumbing companies because they know their work, that have transitioned into the one-time plumber model because of the system and the way that we sell ourselves and the training and the help and everything that they get, that we throw out there. So we're not afraid to put our competition out there in the plumbing business. In fact, we want them to get in the plumbing business, whether it's with us or somebody else, because the model works. Period.
What do you think the secret sauce to the business model success really is? And then, Coral, we'll actually have you come back. I want to hear Rocky's response, and I want to hear what your response is to that. Like how, because sometimes as visionaries and as, someone who develops a new program, like we kind of have our head, like, it's up in the clouds, and then, and the people kind of like that bought into our idea doesn't quite match. So I'd love to get like your take on whatever his response is.
Yeah. And my response is, honestly, when we were trying to get into the commercial space, it was horrible to try and create relationships because they might not need you for a year and a half, and you were buying tickets and taking the lunch and stuff like that. And hell, they might not need you for 3 years.
Right. And you're like perpetually in the friend zone. Like that's
frenzy. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then once we started doing the plumbing business, we were getting business immediately. Like most of our salespeople, when they go into a business, they would get the plumbing business literally that day. Yep. So then they start building a relationship off the plumbing, and it begets the water damage. It just does. And we get, don't get me wrong, we get a ton of residential too. But they're just, the commercial are so much bigger. And I'll throw one anecdote out there. I always say the $24,000 commercial job is easier. It truly is, than a $4,000 residential, because you're not carrying Aunt Mary's stuff up to the garage because it's priceless. You're just moving some desks and doing some extractions.
All right, Carol, kind of chime in here. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So what really One Time Plumber has done for me is it has given me freedom. When you guys were talking earlier, I was kind of thinking about what word to use there, and it really has provided freedom for me to go out, do the restoration that's profitable and that I get paid on, for clients that appreciate my process, because I'm also a big believer in E3 and we follow that very strictly. And then then I can actually make a living and have cash flow with a plumbing business that is running 24/7, 365 days of the year. And we're giving exemplary service. We look different than any of the other plumbers in town. We're priced different than any of the plumbers in town. And people are happier with what they're receiving. So it really gave me the freedom to go do what I wanted to do and not have to work for the TPAs or not have to work for the customers that I didn't necessarily trust. I don't care about them anymore because I'll go do the plumbing and go do the restoration I want to do.
Yeah. Can I steal her answer? Can I go back and do mine again?
You should. So, but again, that's again, this is the kind of testimonial that you would really want, right? Because again, a lot of us chase, and I can say this for myself, like for me, a long time it was chasing money, right? But not all money is worth chasing, number one, because you lose some sanity along the way. But really what we're after is we're after freedom. And I think that word just really sums it up. There's a lot of people that I know, because I speak to so many individuals, not only on camera, but off camera. And we're talking about like why they got into the business. And it's always some variant of freedom. I wanted to spend more time with the family. I wanted to go ahead and have the freedom to go on vacations whenever I want. And then what happens is your money is held hostage if you're doing insurance work, even if you're not on a program work. If you're just going to Susie Q's home and she doesn't have the money to float the bill, you are all of a sudden you wanted to start a business that was going to make you money, and now you're financing your own project so that you can get paid 6 months later. You all of a sudden lose that vision of freedom, right? So I think that just sums it up. Like, if you can build a business that provides that kind of freedom to say, yes, I want this project. No, I don't want this project. It's cash flowing. It allows me to do everything that I need to do. And, you're wildly successful at doing it. That just makes total sense to me.
Oh, yeah. And keep in mind, too, like the thing that don't see behind, because Coral has had wild success, and we've had a lot of our franchisees, in fact, most of them, but it came with a lot of work. I mean, when she went up and going, I mean, I think this is a funny story, but it went so fast, so quick. She literally had her dad, who was a retired plumber, going around in a rented pickup truck doing plumbing calls while she was doing water calls and so on and so forth. So don't mistake. This is not, I'm not Merlin. I'm not going to wave a wand and you're going to have this. This is you got to roll your sleeves up, clock the heck in and get this done. But if you follow the system and you do it the right way with the right people, I'm not promising anything other than you're going to have success. How much success is up to you. But Coral, I mean, yeah, they don't know, that part of it. Those first 3 months were monumentally tough. Did you even sleep?
No, we didn't sleep. My husband was he was working a second job, and what Rocky was referred to as, I called him one day and I said, Rocky, we are plumbing out of a Chevy Malibu today.
Yes.
Because that's all I had left, and we had to snake a drain, and by goodness, I was not letting that go. So,
right. That's amazing. But those are like the great success stories, right? Because now we actually have something to talk about. We have something to laugh about, right? You've got that, it's that grit that, really defines an entrepreneur, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it doesn't come easy, but anything worth having is worth working for.
Amen. Exactly. So what's next on so here we are, we're several franchises in, proof's in the pudding. We know that people are wildly successful. You're doing 5 signings here. So hopefully you and I get to link up, because you're going to be right in my backyard in the good old MIA. Maybe we can have a couple of mojitos while you're down here. And, so what's next? What's the next number? What's the next goal for One Tom?
Well, we'll be at 50. Keep in mind, this is the part that people are, getting Coral's my witness. That's with a 42% turnout rate of people that apply. We're really particular about who we onboard, because we want people who are honestly, treat their employees good, because how they treat their employees are going to treat us. And we got to clock in on this so hard that we will only want people that are very like-minded, successful. But we've turned out a $30 million a year company that wanted 3 franchises, because it's not just about the money. It's about getting the right people. And again, we're big on the brotherhood across the country. Are you going to network? Are you going to share? Are you not only going to help them with the One Tom Plumber, but are you going to help them with the restoration company? And are you going to be open to help? Because it's all about making it better. That's the reason we did this. I know that sounds cheesy and salesman, but it's absolutely true. I had no intention of franchising this. I wanted this for me and to help my company and make that transition out of being so heavy dependent on TPAs. And what happened was I brought Chuck DeWalt in to train our water guys one day. We did it in-house, and he basically saw what we were doing and threatened to beat me with a baseball bat if I didn't take this out to the other restoration people. That's absolutely a true story. So I started looking at it and said, you know what? I think we can. I do think we have something that's replicable, that we can get out there and help my brothers and sisters in the restoration industry. And that's actually how it happened. I wasn't planning on franchising. This was not a franchise play for me from the beginning, but I don't want to get hit. Chuck DeWalt carries that bat like a sword. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not going to let this guy beat on me, So, and that's actually how it all happened.
That's amazing. And I think that a lot of good things that happen in a very similar fashion. Like, you don't go into it with the intent of having a franchise and then doing this thing. You're just like, hey, I kind of have this problem, or I've got this itch. I want to go ahead and take care of it. You take care of it. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, wow, this is really amazing. Somebody else comes along. It's like, hey, why aren't you providing this to everybody else? And then, the rest is history. And I think that a lot of great products, a lot of great companies start with that same kind of baseline story.
Yeah. And he played college baseball, so I know he can swing that bat.
He just needed to add that one.
So yeah, you guys, all you guys can thank Chuck DeWalt and threaten to kick my ass, basically.
So what's next? What do you have another number in mind as far as where you think you'd like? What's your next goal as far as franchise numbers are concerned?
That's a great question. Here's what happened. We didn't expect to go so fast. We had actually stopped, and I know you know this, and we talked about it on podcast, but we actually stopped last year from April to June 20th and wouldn't even talk to anybody until we scaled. It just happened so fast. So now our system internally is we're hiring people. We're literally hiring people right now for August through October. Like, everybody that we think we're going to need, we're actually hiring. In fact, when I leave this this podcast, I have an interviewee sitting in the waiting room waiting on me. But all I'm going to point with that is that we're hiring ahead. We're training people the right way. We're bringing them up so that when we do need them internally for the franchise and for our franchisees, they're ready. They know exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it. So what we're going to do is take it up to 80. We'll be at July, and by the end of July, we'll be at 50. We want to take it up to 80, take a deep breath, see where we're at, make sure that we don't lose that interconnection between all of our franchisees and the networking and the family, environment, and see where we go from there. But 80's kind of our ceiling right now, and we'll see where that takes us.
Awesome. So Rocky, first and foremost, man, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on the show. And Coral as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Your testimony is great. And the responses were great. I think that there's a good lesson to be learned here, right? Which is don't go after the one-time people, right?
That's it.
Sounds like we're Coral.
We're national now, baby. We'll find you. Yeah, we'll find you. We're coming. But having said that, I want to thank you, dude, because you've been such a great ambassador to the restoration industry. I mean, you don't get enough credit for what you do in these podcasts. And I see you at all these conventions and you're out networking, you're bringing people together. Under networking, you got Zig Ziglar and then you. Do you know what I'm saying? So, you and your wife.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you haven't met his wife, meet her, because like any good man, it's you want the man in charge or the woman that knows what's going on. And she's the one. She's amazing one. And thanks for being such a great ambassador for us. Seriously.
Thank you. And for all those dominators out there that are just tuning in to this episode, and this is your first exposure to Rocky, to One Tom, and everything else, I encourage you to do a couple of things. Number one, go ahead and click the links to the previous podcast listed in the video description below, or if you're listening to the audio version only, it will be located in the show notes, or you could just go to restorationdomination.com, check out the previous episodes if you want to learn more about One Tom, or you could do one better. In the video description and in the show notes below, I'm going to leave Rocky's contact information and exactly where you can get more information if you are entering the restoration arena, if you have a remediation company, and something is kind of struck chord with you and you're like, you know what, I can see myself doing this makes perfect business sense. We've got social proof. We know that there's real people in real cities serving real customers that are making real money, that aren't giving themselves real anxiety attacks. These people are real, and you connect with that. I would encourage you to go ahead and reach out to Rocky and the One Tom team, and I think that you'll be really impressed. And again, it's one thing that I do want to kind of drill in on is exactly what you said. It's not about the money, it's about the people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's got to be a good fit, and I think that in part is what allows you to be successful, and also have that culture across the board where it's a lot more than just the money. You can't just come in and be like, hey, I got this money, sell me a franchise, call it a day. There's a real vetting process that you put people through. But I think that this is a great opportunity. From the first moment that I met you, that you told me about how meticulous you were in dissecting this business 7 ways from Sunday. I was like I told you on our first podcast, I turned over to my wife. I was like, this guy gets it. I touch with a lot of people, but this guy really gets it. Yeah. Yeah. So, again, Dominators, make sure that you check out the link if it's something for you. If not, check out the other interviews. They're going to be absolutely phenomenal. Rocky, thank you so much. Karen, thank you so much. I appreciate you. And as always, remember, hustle, hack, dominate. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
You've been listening to Restoration Domination, your #1 resource for tips, tricks, and hacks to help your business grow. Subscribe to our channel and follow us for more Restoration Domination. And follow our host at Rico Garcia Jr. on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Till next time, this is Restoration Domination. Hustle, hack, dominate.